Hello there, my name is Susan Linson. I work with the Oakland Livingston Human Service Agency in the Energy Services Division, and I'm here today to talk to you about ways that you can save time, energy, money, and have your clothes last longer while you're doing your laundry. So the first thing that I want to talk to you about is sorting your laundry. It's very important that you sort it. It might be boring, but it's useful. So you want to take out the things that are very heavily soiled, or the things like, let's see, this is a very nasty, greasy t-shirt. We're going to put all of the nasty things together, all of the things that need a lot of extra time. These are things that are heavy that I'm going to want to boil because they were at the beach and they might have funky germs on them. This is something that needs a little pre-treating, but I don't want to ruin it. It's my favorite shirt. So I'm going to sort that out, and then I'm going to decide how much I'm going to put in a load. It's very important that you don't overpack the washer. So if you're using a top load, you want to put in just as much clothing as you can to have the clothing move freely. So I'm going to tip it in here. I'm going to set the water level correctly. I'm going to watch it, and when it's agitating, the clothing needs to move freely. If it can't move freely, it can't wash well. If you have a front load washer, it's a little bit different when you're loading than a top load washer. A front load washer you can fill all the way up to the top. That's because the front load washer washes by moving the clothing through the pool of water at the bottom. It uses much less water, and you can fill it all the way up so the whole circle is full. It will take a lot more clothing in it. The next thing that you want to consider is your water temperature. If you have something that needs to have the germs killed, then you might want to use hot. So that might be if you have stinky socks, you have towels that came from the beach, someone was ill in your family. If you have things that tend to wrinkle or that have an oily stain, so for example, if I got some salad dressing on this shirt, I would need the warm water that would help lift the oil away. Everything else you can wash in cold. So if you think that your clothing doesn't come clean in cold water, consider how much soap you're using and what kind you're using. You can use any kind of soap there is for cold water. You can use your basic, you can use your eco-friendly, you can even use soap nuts. It will all work in cold water. If you feel like your clothing doesn't get clean enough in cold water, consider, did you sort them correctly? And also you might want to use an additive. So you could use baking soda or borax. All you do, open this up, put in about that much for a whole load. It's going to help remove any dinginess, oil, and especially stinkiness. It's very good for that. This was very inexpensive. This was only about $3. You can get a huge box of baking soda for a couple dollars. If you have things that need to be pre-treated, you can either use the liquid laundry detergent that you're already putting in. You can take a bar of soap, rub it where it's on there. This also works good under the armpits for stinky things. Whatever soap you normally use, you're going to love the smell. Put that in. When you're using the soap, it's important to use the right amount. So use the measuring cup. Use the smallest amount first. Check and see. If that gets your clothing clean, that's good enough. More soap is not better. Too much soap will not dilute properly and will actually make your clothing sticky, and the soap will not be able to work properly to lift that soil away and have the water wash away. Suds is not what cleans your clothes. The soap is what cleans your clothes. If you're going to use additives to take stains out or to sanitize, you want to follow the directions and don't use more than you need to. Consider that if you're using chlorine, that it's very irritating to the respiratory system. So if you can get away with not using chlorine, try something else. It will be better for your health, and your clothing will last much, much longer. The next thing to consider is drying. So if you're drying heavy things, like towels, run them through the spin cycle twice. Once your washer's done, click it around, spin it again. That's going to take out the maximum amount of water. Once you put them in the dryer, the first thing you're going to do, of course, is clean out the lint trap. Even this small amount of lint is going to restrict the airflow. This is going to make your clothing take longer to dry, cost you more money, and become a potential fire hazard. So always clean it out, even if it's the tiniest amount. If you use dryer sheets and this gets waxy buildup, you can take some dish soap, put it on this, let this sit in your sink for about a half hour and rinse it off. You're going to get better airflow. Of course, you have your dryer brush, which you can also use for your refrigerator, and periodically get down in there and you can get out nasty stuff that's also restricting the airflow. Walk around the outside of your house once in a while, make sure that vent is clear. Put your clothing in, and you're all good to go. The other thing to consider with a dryer is not over drying. This dryer has a moisture sensor, which is wonderful. You can set it for more or less dry. I suggest trying less dry and then feel it when it goes off. If it needs to be dried a little bit more, you can put it on a little bit more. Take out the things that are already dry, fold them, they won't be as wrinkled later. And if anything is still wet, like this washcloth, leave it in there, run it a little bit longer. With those tips, your clothing is going to last longer, look better, you'll save time because you don't have to wash things over.